Hello and welcome to Out the Broom Cupboard with myself, Carly of Bardware. Hello and welcome to our 5th episode. How amazing, our 5th episode. I thought we're having an outside broadcast today. It's the 20th of March, it is the 2023, it is the spring equinox today, or Ostara as well. So it's the pagan celebration of, technically speaking, what then changed to be Easter. It was obviously Christian Easter is a little bit later. Quite interesting. Spring equinox, that equal time of light and dark, that tilt where we go into the summer days. Of obviously longer days and shorter nights. Beautiful. So excited about that. So I thought I'd stand out in nature today. I'm very lucky. I'm actually down with my ponies at the minute. I've just finished mucking out. Oh, there's a bumblebee just whipped past me. And I thought I'd actually get, hopefully, not too much of the circuit. Because I live very near a race circuit. But I just thought I'd stand out in nature and get the background of the birds twittering and how much you can hear that they're awake. And I'm actually stood at the minute by there's a blackthorn hedge that runs down the side of the ponies' field. And I'm just looking at that now, and I can see that the buds are just coming up on the blackthorn hedge. And you see the buds coming up. The world is starting to green up. That's what Ostara and the spring equinox is all about. So obviously we have also Embolc, which is on the 1st of February. So that's when the first shoots you see, and we know the earth is starting to warm up. So you see the first shoots of, normally the snowdrops stick their noses out, and you can just about see the trees starting to bud. If you go for a walk around February time, you can start to see the little buds appearing. And that's quite fascinating. But obviously we get to this stage of the spring equinox and things are really starting to take note. So the world is starting to be greener. The birds are starting to make more of a wonderful little noise. Now, even though I've stood underneath them, they've now gone quiet, which I don't blame them. They don't want to listen to me chatty ramble, do they? They've sort of gone, blow that, I'm off. You can really see the shift happening. And it's lovely, and you can feel it changing. I mean, unfortunately, apparently it's raining today. It's drizzly here in the wonderful world of Wiltshire. So my father-in-law, love him loads. He's a bit of a farmer's almanac man, and he sort of very much lives. I'm going to have to record him one day, and get him to tell him his old sayings. But there's a thing going that apparently if it rains on the spring equinox, you're guaranteed rain for the next 3 months, just to cheer you all up. So if you're in a part of the country where, or any country, because obviously on the southern hemisphere it's the autumn equinox. Yes, absolutely. It's Mabon's blessings to you on the autumn equinox. So they're going into their autumn, so they're turning around the other way. And so I don't know, quite interesting, if I have some southern hemisphere listeners. I know I've got one, bless her. So if she can get in touch with the show, or just get in touch with me on the podcast, the show, hello a minute, I've gone into radio mode. If she'd drop me a message on the podcast, that'd be amazing, to say whether or not they have the same sayings down there about if it rains on the autumn equinox, they're going to have 3 months of rain. Or whether or not it's just a British thing, I don't know. So apparently so. So if you're somewhere in Britain and it's not raining, I'm going to come to you, because apparently it's not going to rain near you for the next 3 months. Hurrah! So it's lovely. I'd say I'm stood in the field next to this beautiful blackthorn hedge. And I can see the buds coming up. And what I really like is just down a little bit further from the blackthorn hedge. I'm going to walk now, so it's probably going to sound a bit muffly. Is a beautiful hawthorn tree, and it always reminds me, hawthorn trees obviously is a very fairy tree anyway, along with blackthorn, funny enough, and they're side by side, so there you go. But this beautiful hawthorn, it's got so much, or lichen or lichen, whichever way you pronounce it, and it honestly looks like a proper fairy elf tree. It really should be in the Lord of the Rings. It's the only way I can describe it. It's proper fuzzy, that probably proper fuzzy green. I call it lichen. And you can, it's amazing. Do you know, interesting factoid, here you go, and all the birds have shut up. Why have you all gone quiet? An interesting factoid is lichen actually grows 1 millimetre a year. Some forms of lichen grow 1 millimetre a year. So you think some of the lichen you see on British trees, there we go, thank you very much, just on cue, is phenomenal. They're really big. So it's like you think, oh, it must be years old. Anywho, I'm digressing off the spring equinox. I just thought it'd be lovely to bring, we're probably going to end up with somebody walking down the footpath. Oh, there we go. I just thought it would be absolutely lovely to bring the thought pattern of obviously nature and what's happening today to everybody that's out there. And just, a little bit of my world. There was someone walking down the footpath. It happens. I'm not going to stop and record, but you even got squelchy footprints on that, so that's good, isn't it? Welcome to my world. Quite an interesting, talking about the spring equinox. I got asked as a group, we got asked quite an interesting question by a lovely lady who came to the fair the weekend. So for those of you that don't know, obviously I'd said I was Bardware, but we obviously organise some fairs. It's not just Bardware that organises, we have... there's a troop of us that organise the fairs and we all come together. So we had an amazing fair the weekend over the 2 days in a local village called Yatton Kennel to me. Serve your local. Perfect. Hope you come along. So we had 2 fairs and one of my stall holders is just starting out on her path, restart. I always say just restarting on her path. And she sprung up a wonderful question in the tribe chat on the Jolly Old World of Facebook. And she said, being new to all this, she said, what should I expect from the spring equinox? What should I manifest? And it made me think about a couple of things, and I sort of offered my opinion or my advice of how I do with things. But it made me think about how much we're influenced by what we see that goes on social media, and we feel as though we should be doing other stuff, or we feel as though we should be doing more than we are. We're lighting candles or producing an altar, or doing something, or making a chant, or casting a spell, or having a hamama, or whatever. We always feel as though, and I don't think I think it's personal to your path, and it's personal to you. So my advice to her was actually don't put any expectations. That's one thing I feel really strongly about is don't have an expectation about what you're doing with your path. Don't expect anything, just roll with it, which is sometimes really difficult because you have to lose control a little bit. It's not so structured. So don't expect anything. And I also said to her today, it's a time, spring is spring cleaning, isn't it? We all do it. See, there you go. See, a lot of people do it and they don't even realise they're doing it. A lot of people are having their part in spring and they don't even realise they're doing it. And that's sort of people that aren't following sort of the earthy, elemental, pagan-y path, or spiritual path. A lot of people say, right, I'm going to have a massive clear out at spring. Oh, welcome to spring. So they're taking part in this whole spring equinox, and they don't even, the whole energy of spring, and they don't even realise they're going to do it. Fantastic. Dragging them all in, and they've never realised. Anywho, I'm going off somewhere else. So yeah, don't have expectations, I think is a real thing. And I also sort of flagged up and said, don't feel so, if you're not like sitting at an altar with a candle and meditating, don't worry about it. It's fine. Even if you just open your window and take a couple of real deep breaths and listen to the birdies. He's I don't know where he is. It's a little bobbin somewhere or the other. There he goes. Having a wonderful little chirrup. I mean, that's enough for spring equinox to me. I haven't had a chance to sit and stop, but I did walk out to the ponies this morning and take a big deep breath, and was very grateful, and realising and just acknowledging the change. That's all you have to do, is just acknowledge it. Just look at the trees, look at the greenery, look at it. I mean, even the grass looks greener today. I don't know if because it's just an extra specially dull day here in the UK, I don't know. But even the grass is greener today, and it looks green. You can see it. It's like, wow, it's amazing. So I think that's one thing, you know, is don't put an expectation on it. That would be my thing. One of my things is just roll with it. And she also sort of said about manifesting. What should she manifest? Well, that personally to her. So it's a very personal, manifestation's a very personal thing. So what she feels she needs. And I just sort of said to her, you know, my answer to that would be is basically you put down what you feel, whether or not it's new beginnings, a new course, reading a new book, make small ideas of things, starting a new project. She makes some beautiful things, so maybe starting a new project. Manifest things that are achievable to start with, and just keep them in your mind, but they are very personal to you. As I say, spring equinox is growth, rebirth, new fresh things. It's a new moon as well. We're going into a new moon tomorrow again, but that's also, new moon is also about letting go and just sitting in that new clean space, in that and acknowledging what's going on, and a chance to start again. A new moon is a new cycle. It's the start of a new cycle again. You get a chance to start again 13 times in a year. It's perfect. Love it. I love it. So yeah, setting new ideas, new intentions, that type of thing. So that's, you know, that in the answer to her question, which I did answer on the Facebook message, but it did make me think, you know, that's quite interesting. She actually gave me a subject for my spring equinox, which was brilliant. So yeah, if you're new to your path, or even if you're halfway along, or wherever you are, it doesn't matter. I think that's one thing we've all got to be, you know, aware. Obviously, we don't set expectations. Oh, actually, I can see from here there's a little long-tailed tit popping around in the hedge. How lovely! Hello, little long-tailed tit. Actually, on the way back from the ponies, they've moved on. They've moved on now because it's sort of time to move on with the bullfinches. But we've actually got a little, well, quite a big flock of bullfinches up, which is quite unusual now because you don't see them very often. So the bullfinches are quite rare. They're quite nice, but they say they have moved on now. But we've got long-tailed tits around here, blue tits, great tits, robins, Mr. and Mrs. Blackbird. There's normally a lovely song thrush that sits in the tree, wrens, loads of wrens, gold crests, buzzards. We've had the odd kite coming in as well. But yeah, it's quite a lot of bird activity, which is nice. Red wings, you see a lot of red wings, dunnocks. So yeah, quite a lot of wonderful bird activity. Where was I going? I don't know. I'd gone off down a rabbit hole. I've gone off onto my RSPB bit. Deary me, hey ho. So yeah, just a thought for the spring equinox. Generally, I think through general everything is don't expect anything, and don't feel so worried if you're not doing what everyone else is doing on Facebook. It's your path, it's your choice, it's what you make of it. So even if you just acknowledge for a moment the change. And I also think a really good thing, and I said this to her as well, is because she came to the fair the weekend, and I said sometimes looking back, just like 2 days, you'll be amazed how much you learn, and that is growth in itself. So looking back, those 2 days over the fair, and how much, because every day is a school day, we all know every day is a school day, I say it all the time. So if you look back 2 days, you're acknowledging what you've learned and what you've gained and the knowledge you've gained, and that is a part of growth, because it's adding to what you already know or making you look at something a little bit different. That is growth. So going back enables you to have growth as well. And, you know, when she sent the message, I sent a voice message back out going, you know, read back what you've written, to what you've answered, how you've answered the message. So just read back what you've just written. That's your spring equinox manifestation and little thing there. And it was like, oh yeah, actually, you know. So sometimes if you type things or write things down, read them back again. That's a really good way. So yeah. So I hope you have a wonderful spring equinox. Ostara blessings to you. Mabon's blessings if you're on the other side of the world. Have a wonderful autumn equinox. And let me know if you're on the other side of the world in the southern hemisphere. Let me know if you have the strange saying about if it rains on the autumn equinox, it's going to rain for the next 3 months. Because according to my father-in-law's almanac, that's what's going to happen. I hope not. I can't do any more mud down the pony's field. I've had enough of mud. Mud. I feel like a hippo. Bum. So no more, please. So yeah, hope you have a wonderful blessings, either end of the scale, wherever you are. And I will speak to you all soon. Bye.